All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Big Facts on Football Sunday. I think my co-host is in the waiting room somewhere, so I'm trying to figure out what he's doing and where he is. Jeff, where is Justin?
Well, he's not feeling great today. Let's just bring him in here.
I don't know what's going on. I don't like it.
Well, there's someone that had a great week last week, and there's someone that had a not so great week last week. And Justin gets the dunce cap.
This is my way of congratulating you on finally beating me. I wore the hat that I've been told I have to wear it now. So I just wanted everybody to see the hat, and I wore the hat and I brought the hat.
Can you wear it the whole episode?
Oh no. I already have to wear masks everywhere, pal. I want to breathe today. That'd be nice for me.
We should make a dunce cap that you two pass around.
We talked about that, bro. We do got to get a dunce cap.
There's a nice clown hat on Amazon that I have to send your way so we can both have one. Just for whoever has a really poor week. We won't do it in the 560%, even the 45% weeks, but on the 20%. Well, I didn't calculate your record last week, Just. What was it?
I stopped after I realized I was 2/3 the way through and only had 2 right. So I don't know. I think I would be lucky to have gotten 5. I don't know that I got that far.
I think it was more like 3. I think you got 3.
Again, I think that's probably correct.
If you bet with Justin, you lost your entire mortgage last week.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I made a decision, Ron, this week. I made a decision. And my decision was
not to hate the Dolphins.
Instead of using my passion for every pick, I'm going to use my ration for every game except for the Eagles.
Something new for my guy.
I'm going to leave my feeling out of every pick except for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, that's a shame because this week I used a lot of my feeling and more than I should, and I'll tell you where I used it, but I still feel good about it. So let's get into right into these picks for our audience here, and then as usual, we will go ahead and we will cover the Eagles game afterwards. So first game up is Tennessee and Jacksonville.
I rushed through these first couple, so that's why I forgot to change the bottom.
What am I looking at?
There's a new betting strategy here.
Yeah, so this line is actually Tennessee minus 7.5, Jacksonville plus 7.5. So Tennessee lost to Cleveland last week. They got behind early, couldn't catch up, but Jacksonville last week gave up over 300 yards to Kirk Cousins and company. Tennessee has something to play for. Jacksonville fans are hoping that they lose out. They actually played Tannehill in week 2. He threw for 3 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. Jacksonville still only lost by about 3 that week. Look, the Titans got embarrassed last week, Justin, through the air by Baker Mayfield. It's not going to happen again. I like the over in this game. I'm taking the Titans minus 7.5. I know people get a little weary of that half a point when it's a 7-point spread. But I think not only is there a talent mismatch, but there's a coaching mismatch in this game enough to cover that spread. I like Tennessee.
I don't really disagree. My pick obviously also is Tennessee for a lot of the same reasons you cited. I don't imagine Tennessee falling behind in this game. That's why I think this is an easy cover for Tennessee. Tennessee's been a team all year, if you go back and look, that each game they struggle with is usually a team that starts hot and a team that gets in front of them because they like to control the clock. They like to run the ball. They like to get Derrick Henry moving. I just don't think 7.5 is enough for a team like Jacksonville, who's in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes right now. I don't think they're trying to win this game. I agree with the over. I think that Tennessee's defense is softer than we thought they were 5 weeks ago. But I don't think that this is any less than a 10-point game. I take Tennessee minus 7.5 in the over also.
Next up, Dallas or Bengals.
This was a thinker for me, man, because Cincinnati looked way better than I thought they were gonna without Joe Burrow. But I also think some of that is the fact that they just lost Joe Burrow. I look at this game, dude, and I see Andy Dalton looks like he's getting into a little bit of a rhythm with some of those weapons they've got down there. That defense has got to show up eventually. And who better than the Bengals? I think the over-under is low, personally, so I'm going to go over. I don't know why it's so low. We got a team with as many weapons as Dallas. I don't get why it's that low and a defense that's played that bad. I'm going to go Dallas -3 in the over, only because I think Dallas is probably going to get more out of their skill positions having Andy Dalton throw the ball than the backup in Cincinnati.
This has to be kind of a pride game for Dallas, right? I mean, you're playing by the way, these are the same exact teams. Horrible defenses, bad offensive lines, and then two or three star wide receivers that they can throw the ball around to. The problem is the Bengals don't have a quarterback that can get the ball to those receivers, and the Cowboys do. And by the way, first time that we're going to see Andy Dalton back against his former team. He's going to be playing with a little bit of fire. He's going to fire up his teammates a little bit. I like this. The reason this game is 43.5 is because even though the defenses are bad, the offensive lines are bad. The quarterbacks haven't been good, but I just think when there's two of the same exact teams, you have to take the better quarterback. I got Dallas giving 3 points to the Bengals. I just don't think that they're going to be able to muster up enough to keep up with the Dallas Cowboys this week.
Cardinals, Giants.
All right, so this one was difficult, and I'll tell you why. Because if you ask anybody in the world, everybody's fallen in love with the Giants. We said a couple weeks ago we thought that they might be the best team. Now that the Redskins are playing well, I'm not sure who the best team is. They're both playing well. The Cardinals and the Giants are going in the complete opposite direction, and the first place Giants, my friend, Jesus, The Giants have one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. They're tied for 8th in sacks. They're 3rd in QB hits. They're only allowing 4 yards per carry. All these reasons that I should be.
Aaron, hold on a second. Motherfucker, he does not count the games for everybody's picks, sir. He doesn't even count our games. Count your own record. Sorry, Aaron. I apologize. Go ahead.
Again, all these reasons I should pick the Giants. And Arizona's had an average defense all year. So Arizona's on a 3-game losing streak. The Giants are on a 4-game winning streak. They're going in opposite directions. I simply think that Arizona is going to win this game by 4 to 6 points. I don't think the Giants are good enough to continue on a winning trend, and I don't think Arizona is bad enough to continue on a losing trend. This isn't a logic game for me, Just. This is a feel game. I'm taking Arizona -3 because I just feel like at some point this team has to wake up. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Kyler Murray's supposed to be in the MVP race. They gave him DeAndre Hopkins. Like, get it together and let's beat a 5-7 football team.
All right, so I want to match your feeling with some logic. I want to ask you a question. Before what you just said and before you looked into this game, if I asked you, was there a team clearly head and shoulders right now better, the Arizona Cardinals or the New York Giants? I feel like you would have said they're pretty on par with each other today. Not potential, not the roster.
I think the Giants are better today.
Right. So here's my thing. Exactly what you just explained against Dallas and Cincinnati. I see two similar teams. Now, they're teams that are similar in the fact that they're a mirror opposite of each other. The Cardinals started off really hot, and now they're starting to come back down to earth. And the Giants started off incredibly bad, and now they're starting to catch some sparks somewhere, and they're meeting each other now here. I look at I'm getting points out of a team that has shown me leagues more in will, in skill, in ability, in execution than the other has in the last couple of weeks. My feeling also tells me Arizona. That was my struggle with this game. I looked at this and said, this is Arizona's chance to stomp a mud hole in a bad team and come back, and this is us. My feeling's not strong enough to pick that way. So I'm going to take the 3 points. I think the Giants have a chance at winning this game outright. They're playing good enough. The defense has been playing good enough. As long as they execute on offense and don't turn the ball over, they have a chance to win this game. So I'm taking a shot. This is not my upset of the week by any means because I don't believe in it that much. But I'm going to take the 3 points in New York, and I'm going to go under.
Now let me slap you with some non-logic here.
Yes, sir.
Who was the only person in the universe that took the Giants last week?
Jeff Berg.
Yes. And what did I say? I said that Colt McCoy is the greatest backup quarterback in the league for one game.
I didn't take the Giants last week.
Well, you took the points.
Oh, okay.
I picked him outright to win.
Okay, gotcha.
Look, even in defeat, he's in victory, he's smug. He can't even share with you, Jeff. I will give you your accolade. You are the only person that picked that for sure.
I said Colt McCoy has one game in him. That was last week.
And he does not have. To be more specific, what was more impressive, you said it's always the game he shouldn't win.
Right.
And that was that game.
Right. The Arizona Cardinals will win this game by 14 points, and I'll tell you why. Because the universe wants the Redskins to win that division. It is the greatest story. Head coach is going through cancer treatments during the season, never misses a game or a practice. Alex Smith almost died 2 years ago from a the worst leg injury we've ever seen. He comes back. He comes in as a third-string quarterback, and all of a sudden he's starting now. Thrust in the starter's position, and he's winning.
They're going to win the Super Bowl.
Jeff, I agree.
Maybe not the Super Bowl, but they will win the playoff game.
It feels to me this year like what will go right for the Redskins has to go right for them this year because of the feeling in the building over there.
Absolutely. Sports love a dramatic story, and as lowly as the Redskins were starting off, or the football team was starting off the season, this is the best story in football right now. It is. There's no doubt about it. There's no more interesting story.
Because I'm a Philadelphia fan, but I can't disagree with you.
All right. Moving on. Texans, Bears.
All right.
Surprised, bud. I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too, if I'm just being honest with you. I don't believe in this Houston Texans team. I just don't believe in them. This is a pick'em game to me. I think that this is a game that is not going to be high scoring or explosive. I think this is going to be a game of mistakes, and he who makes less will win. I don't know which team it was, Aaron. I could have flipped a coin and just picked off that, and it'd have been more accurate than anything else I'm going to say probably. I like the Bears defense better than I like the Houston offense. I like the Bears as a team better, and this is a 1.5 line, and I'm getting it. That was the logic in this one to me. I think the Bears can win this game outright. I don't think it's an upset if they do. I think that this is two Midland, not very good teams that do a couple of different things okay. I don't want to watch this game. I don't give a shit about the outcome of this game. I just don't know that Deshaun Watson isn't alone in his ability on that team. I don't see anything on that team beyond Deshaun Watson that makes me go, wow. Not that I do on Chicago, but their defense is so good. I can't not pick Chicago with a 1.5 over Houston. So I'm going to go Houston. I'm going to go Chicago plus 1.5, and I'm going to go under 45.5.
Said it before, I'll say it again. If Houston was even right around or above 500 right now, we'd be talking about Deshaun Watson as an MVP candidate. The Texans barely lost to Indy last week, and they lost because of a bad snap in the red zone. The Bears lost to Detroit last week. Mitch Trubisky started, but they ran the ball really well. They haven't been able to run the ball all year, but for whatever reason, last week they did. Watson last week had his first game of the year with no TD passes. Indy made it really hard for him. They're one of the top defenses in the league right now. And the Texans are really bad against the pass, but the Bears can't throw or move the football. So I'm taking the more consistent QB. I know what I'm getting with Deshaun Watson, and I know what I get every week from the Bears.
All right, but over or under?
I like this game to be – I like it to be under. I don't think the Bears are going to put up points 2 weeks in a row like that.
What?
Don't you think it's amazing that, every year we see a team fire a coach and all of a sudden they start playing up to their skill level? Like the Texans are not a great team. They traded away the best receiver in the league, and now their top receiver's hurt, but they're playing like they should play now. I think Romeo Crennel should get another coaching job somewhere.
Raheem Morris over in Atlanta is doing the same thing.
Agreed. Yeah,
that is their new head coach, by the way. There's no way they take that team from that guy.
No.
Broncos, Panthers.
Oh, boy. Look at this.
What the fuck?
So this is my upset of the week, Josh.
I'm so upset about this. And I'm picking like you. This is concerning.
Carolina has a bottom 5 defense right now, and Denver has started to really get the run game going. Melvin Gordon had a big game last week. Phillip Lindsay had a couple carries. Over 8 yards per carry against the Chiefs was Melvin. When I get into December football, just for me, it's about running the ball and playing defense. Denver does both pretty well. Their pass defense is also very good. They held Patrick Mahomes last week. So as good as Bridgewater has been this year, this is going to seem like a much easier task for Denver this week than it was last week. I'm taking Denver in an outright upset with the points.
Oh my God! I said I wasn't going to use emotion, and you talked, and now I'm fucked. I disagree with everything that you just said. Denver,
those are facts. You can't disagree with them.
What have you seen from Denver that makes you think that they can look at an NFL task and call it easy?
Easier than is playing Teddy Bridgewater easier than playing Patrick Mahomes?
Cutting off a pinky is easier than cutting off an arm, but you're probably not going to do either, right?
I'd rather have my arm.
The fuck are you? No, my God.
That's the analogy of the year right there.
All the logic that you just used, I just want to turn around on you. There's no logic that tells me that Denver's going to take this game in Carolina. There's no way. Carolina is playing too well. We've agreed at multiple points between Carolina and the New York Giants.
They're not a good football team.
The two best coached teams in the league this year. They're playing hard for who they have, and they're overachieving. Now, to me, Denver is underachieving. I expected more out of Denver this season than we got. I know
they had injuries before the season started.
Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. The COVID, the injuries.
Miller's out.
My point, though, is all that same logic. Carolina is the better football team. There's no argument there, and it is because mostly they're better coached. We can agree on that. But a 3-point line at home. Listen, Denver, I think Denver loses this game by a touchdown, dude. Carolina has done this a couple of times this year. We've been picking these games all year, bro. How many times has Carolina gone into a game with a closer line where we're not sure, and Carolina at home hangs 17 points in 8 minutes? They do this shit, bro. They're not consistent, but they do it. So I got to go Carolina -3. Would you say over or under?
Under.
This game's going over. I can't imagine this game doesn't go over. All that accolade for Denver and it goes under? Fuck is wrong with you? Carolina's going to
I said running and defense, and you want me to pick the over. I said running and defense, and you want me to pick the over.
24. Carolina's going to score 24, which means you lose 27 out of the other side. This game goes over.
I don't see that happening.
Next game,
I feel like Justin was waiting for you to pick the over-under, and he was going to, no matter what, pick the opposite of what you picked there.
No, this is an over game. Carolina doesn't score that. Carolina is a high-powered offense when they're on. And at home, they're on. Next game. I can't do this anymore.
We love when the boys fight.
I can't do this anymore. Oh, my
Vikings,
Lord. How the fuck?
Justin's having an aneurysm.
I'll tell you.
I'm going to be quick. I first of all, before you even talk, I'm going to agree with all of the positivity you give to Minnesota. I'm impressed. I don't need to hear about it. I don't need to weigh in on it. I agree with you. Tom Brady at some point this season is going to need to find his nutsack and show people that he's still Tom Brady, or everybody's going to give up on this team. I think that it's embarrassing for Tom Brady to go into this game knowing that a line that 6 weeks ago would have been 14 is 6.5. That is awful. I think Tom Brady comes out like he did against the Packers and shows you who the fuck Tom Brady is. I'm going to make a score call on this game. I'm going to say that this game is 35-17 Patriots. That's
Patriots?
all. Me. Buccaneers.
Brady gets you.
Buccaneers. 35-17. On to Aaron. I agree with Minnesota. They're a good team. I can't pick against Tom Brady against this kind of team. I can't do it.
All right. Well, Dalvin Cook is leading the league in rush yards per game, touchdowns per game. He's playing the number 1 ranked rushing defense in the league in the Tampa Bay Bucs. So what's going to give, Justin? Well, that's why I'm here. So Tampa's pass defense is below average, but their pass rush is top 10. The Bucs have lost 3 of the last 4 games. Brady's passer rating in those losses has been under 100. I think there's going to be a shootout. The Vikings have a bad pass defense. I just think Minnesota's weapons with their quarterback is clicking better right now than Tom Brady with his weapons. I think the Vikings can actually win this game outright. So if I think they can win the game outright, I'm going to take the 6.5 points. And I'm going to also take the under by like a point or two.
Whoa.
One team that can control the clock, and there's one team that can. I'm taking the under, yeah.
Under? I can't, Jeff, move on. I can't. Oh, my God.
Rule of thumb, when you have Tom Brady, the best quarterback ever to play the game, and Kirk Cousins' face, you always take Tom Brady.
My man. This is the most shocking thing of the week. Aaron didn't pick Miami. What?
Miami's treated me really well this year, so it hurts me not to. So last week, Tua went for 300 yards and a touchdown, almost 8 yards per pass, rating close to 100. That was against a really bad Bengals team. Justin, would you believe me, by the way, if I told you that Tua has not thrown an interception yet this year?
Okay.
So now KC is at this point right now top 10 in pass defense, but they're awful against the run. Miami is third in QB rating allowed, fourth in completion percentage allowed. This feels to me like a Miami cover if I'm looking at logic and how I've picked all year, but it's December football. KC's at a point where they're going to start trying to really get on the run to go into the playoffs, start trying to blow some teams out. It's hard for me just because I'm real big on the Dolphins this year, but I just think that KC is going to be a little bit too much. I think the Dolphins are still a year away from taking this type of leap, and I don't think that this is one of those games that they can keep close. However Miami tries to play this KC team, KC's too well coached and has too good of a quarterback for them to be able to dictate the game in any way.
I'm glad that we were able to be real about Miami this week. This is exciting to me.
I'm real about them every week. I'm right on.
I'm happy to be talking about them in context instead of the conflation of Tua's in now. Anyhow, everything you said is spot on, bro. This is a 10 to 14 point game. The only thing you didn't say is over or under. I think this game goes way over. I think KC probably puts up 35, and they're going to get weak in the end like they always do. And give Tua some trash time so I can hear people like you tell me how good he is. I don't think that this is even this didn't for a second feel like a Miami cover. Not for a moment did this feel like a Miami cover to me. I think the line's low. I think it's because of how well Miami's played that it got bought down that far and how many people put their money there. I think it's over. I think KC -7. This is an easy one.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like the past couple weeks KC should have put up a lot more points based on how they played? Like you just get the feeling that they're about those yards and how well they're playing on offense is about to show on the scoreboard.
They're cruising, and they got to start getting ready for the postseason now.
Colts Raiders.
What team is hotter going in right now? That's what this came down to for me. Again, two pretty evenly matched teams, two really good head coaches. I don't think that I would pick the Las Vegas Raiders over the Colts for any reason right now today. The line's too small for me. I don't like that. I would have preferred seeing the Colts favored by 4.5 or 5 to really feel confident in that. But I think the Colts win this game by 5 to 7. I just don't think that Las Vegas has got it. Much to the point of my co-host who loves Tua so much. The Dolphins are a year away. I think the Raiders are a year away from figuring it all the way out. They made some really good steps this year. Derek Carr came back into form. They found how to play a little bit together. They're just not that good of a team, and I think the Colts are a sleeper team to make some noise in the playoffs. I just got to pick the better team. I'll take Indianapolis -3, and I think this game stays under.
So which Raiders team shows up, Just? Is it the Raiders? Is it the Raiders team that beat Kansas City, or is it the Raiders team last week that almost lost to the fucking Jets if it wasn't for a blown defensive call? I mean, if you almost lose to the Jets last week and you want me to pick them over one of the best defenses in the league, by the way, the Raiders cannot rush the passer at all. They're near the bottom of the league. The only way that you're going to make the Colts offense really uncomfortable with that statue standing in the pocket is if you have the ability to rush the passer, and they do not. So Phillip Rivers is going to be sitting back there all day. I like him to absolutely tear up the Raiders this week. I think it's going to be a 7 to 10 point game. I will happily give the 3 points to a team that shows me no consistency at all.
With you.
I also want to just point out who called the Jets to upset the Raiders last week. And I'm taking that victory because that
you can have it.
Play was bullshit. Greg Williams should be fired. He should never.
He was.
Was he? Oh, good. He should never get another job in this league ever again. He's the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, he is a piece of shit.
I always every week I look for opportunities to go against you guys. I hate the Raiders. I hate that you're forcing me to take the Raiders against you guys, but because they were embarrassed, they will come out and win this game, and then they will miss the playoffs, and that's how it is. All right. Speaking of our favorite underdog story, Jets Seahawks.
So the Jets have to feel like
I want to say this real quick before you say this. I know for a fact we picked this the way we did for the exact same reason, but opposite each other. I bet you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Jets lost to the Raiders last week with 10 seconds left. Their defensive coordinator got fired because of it. It should have been their first win. It wasn't. The Seahawks haven't impressed me at all this second half of the season. They lost to the Giants at home last week. The Jets will fly out to them. They're actually staying at home. They played at home last week. The Jets have actually been pretty good this year just against the run, but really bad against the pass. Chris Carson's back in the lineup. The Seahawks they haven't routed anyone this year like that at all. I really don't see them doing it regardless of what team it is in December, even against the Jets. What worries me is I don't know how the Jets are going to do given a new defensive coordinator this week and a letdown against the Raiders last week. But I just think Seattle isn't very good, and I like the Jets to keep the game within 14 points, especially with Sam Darnold playing.
So exactly what you said, but for an opposite outcome. Because the Seahawks lost to the Giants last week, the Seahawks will demolish the New York Jets. This is the Russell Wilson moment this season. Go back, watch every run they've ever gone on that were improbable. Russell Wilson has a game where he just comes out and lays his dick on the field. He always has one. That's this game to me. This is a bad team with a new defensive coordinator who, again, if Las Vegas wasn't as bad as they actually are, should have even been in that game anyway. I don't see the Jets being able to keep up pace with Seattle. Seattle's defense isn't good, but the Jets' offense is atrocious. So I see a 24-7 halftime score and a 35-10, 35-13 end. It's going to be close.
I like the over on this game a lot, by the way.
I think that the Seattle Seahawks have this one opportunity to reclaim their top. Where
against
New
the
Orleans
Jets
right now, New Orleans.
You're going to be impressed if they blow out the Jets.
No. Let me finish the point, and you'll understand. New Orleans right now is the best team in the NFC. We all agree. The Seahawks 4 weeks ago were that, and they won it back. If you beat the Jets by 30, they know that you're a real team. If you can't cover a 14-point, if you beat the Jets 21-17, no, you're not even close to that contention. This is a game where they can get that standing back. Will they? Who the fuck knows? You know how I feel about 14-point lines. I hate them. I lost to the Jets on a 19-point line. I hate them. But I think that this is Seattle at home. This is Seattle's chance to kind of reclaim second spot in the NFC for contenders. So I don't disagree with anything that you said. I believe all the shit that you said. But that loss last week to them is going to be vengeance now. And the Jets just happen to be the bad team next. That's how I feel about it.
This is Jeff's don't touch this game with a 10-foot pole pick of the week. Don't bet on it.
Facts.
Packers.
Oh boy. I was expecting you to go Packers here. Let's go.
Well, I can't go Packers here. I can't go Packers here because of what I saw out of Detroit last week. And again, how many times have we said this? When a coach gets fired, it's always interesting to see the change. Or when a quarterback gets replaced and receivers all of a sudden know how to get separation, even though it was the second half of the same game. I'm not calling anybody out by name, but I'm just saying 9 points is too many points. That's what this is to me, bro. I think if this is a Green Bay handed win, like if this is a good Green Bay game, it's still only 7 points. 9 points is too big of a line.
Yeah.
I think it goes over. Green Bay's defense is underachieved, and Aaron Rodgers is not that dude this year, bro. This to me is a 7-point game.
He's leading for MVP right now. What do you mean he's not that dude?
Stop it.
He's like 30 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
I don't care. The statistics don't matter. Look at the team. The team that they don't win because of him like they used to 6 years ago. This isn't Russell Wilson carrying the fucking team. Come on, bro.
The only reason they win is because of Aaron Rodgers.
This is your worst take. This is the worst take of the year. I agree with
the pick. My worst take of the year, bro.
I'm marking this.
There's better quarterbacks doing more impressive shit without Devontae Adams, is my point. That's all I'm saying. I know that I'm not saying he's not up there. I'm not Donald Trump. I'm not denying the obvious truth. I just disagree. I just don't agree. The line's too big, dude. Over, I think, because that number is sky high. It's got to be a high-scoring game. I think this is a 7-point game for the Packers. I don't think that Detroit has a chance to win this outright, but I think this is a 7-point game for the Packers. Give me 9 and give me Detroit.
So I'll put the Rodgers stuff aside for a second. There's a lot of reasons that I like the Packers, and initially that was my pick. And Detroit pulled out a win last week, as I called, against the Bears after firing Matt Patricia. They got all riled up. They put up 34 points. They didn't have any of their playmakers. That feeling typically lasts for anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks, so I'm going to keep riding that. The game's in Detroit. The spread's big. 2 QBs with 2 teams that are very familiar with each other. Aaron Rodgers leads the league in TD passes and passer rating with only 4 interceptions, but the Lions have nobody that can cover, Devontae Adams. The first time they played in week 2, they did what they wanted to offensively. The Packers won by 21 points. We've talked about this all year, just in division games. If the team is somewhat of a good team, which the Lions are this year, they're somewhat of a good team. They're not a good team, but they're somewhat of a good team. I like division games to flip-flop. I think Stafford's a good enough quarterback at this time to keep this game within 9 points. And they have to worry about Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but I just like them to cover that 9 points. I don't think they're going to win the football game. But again, division games split all the time, even when the teams are not evenly matched. So I have to take Detroit.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, can we go back to Aaron Rodgers for a second? Listen, we know that after watching what's-his-face, that Neanderthal in Dallas, it is doing to that team. Even with Dak Prescott, they were losing. It is now more evident than ever that Aaron Rodgers carried that franchise for the past 15 years. The only reason they're respectable is because of Aaron Rodgers. True. He makes magical throws by just flicking his wrist off his back foot that we've never seen before. This man is Jesus.
Now that we know who Jeff wants to ask him to prom.
I wrote him a letter today.
I bet you did. I hope it works out for y'all. He seems like a nice man.
All right. Falcons, Chargers.
Surprising. This is my upset of the week.
So Herbert had his awful game against Belichick, which I knew was going to happen. It's why I picked the Patriots last week. He kills rookie QBs. That's the worst that Justin Herbert's going to look in 20 years, Justin. It's not going to happen again. He was god-awful. So now he plays a Falcons defense who has been one of the worst pass defenses in the year. They got shredded by non-QB last week. Their pass defense has been near the bottom of the league. Julio Jones is out. And the Chargers' pass defense has actually been pretty good this year, which is what the Falcons are kind of good at. I'm taking Herbert to bounce back. I like the Chargers to win this game outright.
This is my upset of the week, bro. I don't think Atlanta's as good as they've seemed. They're a good team now, as you said earlier. They're good. I picked Justin Herbert over Matt Ryan. That's really what it comes down to for me right now. I think Justin Herbert gives me a better chance to win than Matt Ryan does. LA's got a little bit of a pass rush. You make Matt Ryan uncomfortable and he crumbles. That's who he is. Phillip Rivers, bro. That's how you get him uncomfortable and get him out of the pocket. He's fucked. That's the end of his game. This is my upset of the week. I think the Chargers win this game easy. I think it goes over. I'll take Chargers plus 1.5, but they're going to win outright.
Yeah, I like the over too.
Back to disagreement.
All right. So this, to me, I believe that these are two almost identical teams in a way.
Yeah.
You have two very, 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 very good defenses with very good defensive-minded coaches where they're executing week in and week out. They're impressive defenses, both of them, with very mediocre offensive play. I would take Alex Smith even today, 2 years after almost dying, over Jimmy Garoppolo for a million reasons. I don't need to get into that. I don't see Ron Rivera losing this matchup himself as a coach. I believe that this is a game that is set up solid for Ron Rivera to be able to use the little bit of offense he does know to kick themselves over. I think 3 points is a super fair line. I think this is a close game, but I think the line should be reversed. Washington, to me, has been a better team for longer. I think that Washington probably wins this game outright. This I thought of for my upset of the week, but I like the Chargers too much this week. I don't think that I think that this is inverted. I think Washington could win this game outright. I like the over-under because it's right in the middle. I'm going to lean under because I think this is going to be a defensive matchup. But I take the 3 points in Washington, and I think they could win outright.
So Jeff, I was making sure I was checking our text. I did pick Washington +3.
Oh, you did.
And I agree with you on everything. Just for me, these are two teams that, like you said, for the most part, they try to do the same exact thing. They have the same records. Washington is feeling really good. They just upset Pittsburgh. Alex Smith's vying for comeback player of the year. The football team is playing for the division. Their pass rush is the real deal. Alex Smith's played turnover-free football for the most part. San Fran got worked last week. 49ers are hoping to get Jimmy G back soon. I'm not sure if he's playing this week. I think it's still Mullins. To me, this one comes down to I just think the football team is actually the better football team right now, and they're getting the points, and I think they can win the game outright, so I have to take Washington.
Yeah, for people that don't like focus on Washington, which is most of the world, their pass rush is insane, and it didn't show up in the stats the past couple of weeks because they were playing quarterbacks that don't get sacked. Period. Doesn't matter if Mullins or Garoppolo plays today; they're going to get to the quarterback 4 or 5 times. And not to mention Alex Smith, even though 10 years removed from San Francisco, this is one last fuck you. Thanks for letting me go. And to your point, Justin, Washington, their offense isn't great by any means, but they are executing it the way it's supposed to be run. It's dink, dunk, control the clock. They're executing perfectly right now.
Absolutely.
Yep. Steelers, Bills.
All right. This one, Ron, I don't know about you. This is a gut one for me, so I don't know if your pick.
This is a gut one for me, actually, because everything that I was looking at told me to take the Bills. So the Steelers haven't been playing well. We all know that. They've had trouble on offense. They haven't run the ball effectively, but they have the constant, which is they are a top 2 or 3 defense in the NFL. Throughout the totality of the year, they are the best defense, but the Saints have been playing the best defense since week 9. The Bills, on the other hand, do not have a very good pass defense, but they have a great passing offense. I watched Josh Allen last week absolutely shred the 49ers in the worst way. He was diming it out all day. Josh Allen's going to be uncomfortable this game. The Steelers are ranked first in sacks. They're first in QB hits. The Bills aren't a quick pass offense the same way that the Steelers are. Allen relies on his legs to extend the play, connect on the deep ball. He has Diggs for that, and then Cole Beasley for everything else. I always look to see what the teams did last week, and the Bills beat the Niners handedly, and Pittsburgh lost to Washington, and Pittsburgh was playing 3 games in 12 days. I expected them last week to come out kind of flat. I think they've had rest. I think they get the best of the Bills, and I'll take the points because I do have a feeling that they can also win this game outright. I'm going to take the Steelers on a gut feeling, even though most of the facts here are telling me to take the Bills. I like the Steelers in December. By the way, Tomlin is 27-13 in December and January coming into last week.
Ben Roethlisberger wasn't fucking 38 years old when he was acquiring that record. But this is not Pittsburgh at home playing Tampa Bay where they have an advantage of playing in December and January. Buffalo's familiar with this football. They always have been. Josh Allen, to me right now, is the best quarterback playing right now. He is accomplishing everything and then some of what was in front of him. Let me caveat that. Pat Mahomes for probably the next 10 years will actually be the best. But Josh Allen is right up there. He's doing shit that we thought he could, and now he's executing. Because Buffalo put real weapons and real receivers around.
They helped him out. Look at that.
They helped him out a little bit.
Yeah, they got him a receiver.
My name.
Yeah.
God, it sucks. Anyway, Buffalo is too good of a team right now, and this was what spoke volumes to me. This is why my gut. When I read this line, the first thing I thought was, Pittsburgh just lost their first game of the year in week 13, and they're an underdog already? That's a problem. I think Buffalo beats this team easily by 7. I think that Buffalo is just – this is a last gasp of a great quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger in that offense and the new fiery invigoration of Josh Allen. And I'll take the 25-year-old guy outperforming the 38-year-old guy almost every time. That's what that is for me. I love the over in this game. I think Buffalo wins this game handily. I'm going Buffalo -1.5.
Pittsburgh's offense has been exposed these past few weeks, right? I mean,
watching away and you're done.
I watched Ben Roethlisberger miss wide open receivers down the field. They can't do anything but these short routes. And I agree with you. Josh Allen is fun to watch. Fun to watch.
Last week was a treat.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow. This is interesting to me that this is how you picked. I'm surprised by this one. Cleveland is playing unbelievable football right now. They're riding on a high. They're probably going to make the playoffs for the first time in like 113 years. It's fun to watch. Their offense is clicking. I think it's incredible that they're doing this without Odell Beckham. I know the backfield's ridiculous there, and they don't need him, but it's still impressive that the guy you brought in to really put you over the top isn't even a part of this newfound success. I think it's great. 46.5 is confusing to me. I'm going to take the points because I think Cleveland can win this game outright. And I guess because of that, I think I might have to go over because I think Baltimore can put points on the board. I'm going to go Cleveland +2.5, potential outright in the over.
Just, if I told you that in week 14, the Ravens and the Browns were going to be playing, and the Browns were the better football team, and I was going to pick the team that had the better rushing attack, you'd have been like, oh, the Ravens are going to fucking destroy them.
For sure.
Not the case this year. So the question is, do I think that this Cleveland team can finally get over the hump and put together 2 back-to-back great performances against 2 good football teams? They played in week 1. Baltimore didn't let Baker do anything in week 1. He was awful. Baltimore won that game 38-6. And Lamar Jackson threw for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, even though Cleveland won last week versus the Titans, they gave up over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to Tannehill. He shredded them trying to come back, but they were, for the most part, playing kind of a prevent defense. Cleveland is top 10 in rush defense, and they're playing Lamar Jackson and his trio of running backs, while the Ravens' rush defense is kind of middle of the pack, and that's what Cleveland does best. I just think that the team that can win outright, I have to take with the points. They're also, I believe, at home. So I have to take Cleveland at this point. I just believe in, not that I believe in Baker Mayfield, but I believe the coaching staff is doing a good enough job there for them to be able to execute in a way where they can win this game outright, run the football, be a good wintertime December football team. And throughout the season, I've watched teams just make Lamar Jackson look worse and worse. I think Cleveland can also do that. I like Cleveland +2.5.
Despite what you think about Baker Mayfield, is there anybody that has more fun playing right now than him?
Oh, God, no.
When he runs down the field high-stepping after he throws a touchdown,
can I tell you,
it's exciting. If you're a Cleveland fan, you should be excited.
Y'all saw the video. Him come sliding in for the paparazzi picture.
Yeah,
that was fucking hilarious, bro.
Real smooth.
Yeah, it was great, dude. We got Eagles next, and that's it, right?
Yep. You guys want to take a quick break?
Yeah, let's take a break real fast, and then
a minute and a half. We'll
break down this dumpster fire again.
All right. Shit show party. So let's just get right into it, Just. The Saints.
It was hard for me, bro. I want you to know that this was hard.
It wasn't easy for me as well. So the Saints have gone 5 straight games, Justin, giving up 17 points or less against much better offenses than the Eagles have had this year. I've watched the flip side of this is I've watched the Eagles for 20 years, and it's like almost every time a new quarterback or a backup's inserted, they get this spark of energy and go on this like small, like little run and end up beating like the first 2 out of 3 teams that they play. But this is the worst Eagles team that I've seen in about 20 years. So for me to think that Jalen Hurts is going to come in and give them a spark for 4 quarters, I don't see it happening against this defense. The Saints have the ability not only to run the football, they have playmakers everywhere. They have a threat to run. Taysom Hill can throw it around a little bit. I'm not giving him that pocket passer QB status that you want to give him yet. I don't think he's that great of a passer, but he shredded a bad defense the other week. I just think that Jalen Hurts is going to come out and give this team a spark for about a quarter and a half, and then the Saints are going to run all over this football team. Since week 9, Justin, the Saints are on defense first in points allowed. They've allowed the fewest yards per game, the fewest rushing yards per game, and they are first in interceptions and first in takeaways. So if you're asking me if I think Jalen Hurts is going to miraculously get subbed in for Carson Wentz and all the offense's problems are going to be fixed, I'm going to tell you that that's not going to happen. But the offensive line, just that we've wanted to see all year, is starting this game. So they're going to have Mailata at left tackle, Suamalu at left guard, Kelsey at center, Herbig at right guard, and Jack Driscoll at right tackle. We'll see how that line holds up against that Saints defense.
All right. My gut tells me that the Eagles are going to win this game, and I hate it. And it's hard for me as an Eagles fan because I know part of that is passion and love for my city and my team. But it's past that to my gut. My gut, the ration of my gut is telling me, with history, the Eagles are going to win this game.
Yeah.
But I can't say it out loud and pick it. I can't do it. I hear there's this game ends in 2 ways to me. This game ends with Jalen Hurts having 360 yards through the air, 95 on the ground, 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, and the Eagles win by 10. Or the likely scenario, Jalen Hurts has a very good, modest game, 18 for 30, 220 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions.
Right.
And the Eagles lose this game by 14 points.
Right.
That's what's more likely. That's why I picked this the way that it was. I don't disagree with you that history shows me that these guys spark something. Somebody comes in and they get better all of a sudden out of nowhere. But what is being missed here, and this is something I want to discuss at least for a couple of minutes, Carson Wentz of college and Jalen Hurts of college could not be more different.
Mm-hmm.
Could not be more separated by skill, ability, prowess, the whole nine. Carson Wentz never dealt with adversity in North Dakota State. Carson Wentz every single day was the best player on his entire roster. As Jeff said to me before we came on, probably the best player of the entire division of 1AA that he played in.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts won a national championship and then lost his job. And then came back in and got benched in a national championship game. And then went and took over Oklahoma and became the Heisman runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts is a guy that faces adversity. So what I'm excited about this week is I believe Jalen Hurts has the talent, the ability, the wherewithal, the mental strength. I believe Jalen Hurts is so good of a player. We're going to know what is truly broken the most. If Jalen Hurts finds a way to keep this team contending against New Orleans, Doug's offense isn't broken. It's just not good. So now we need to tweak like they did in 2017. Or Jalen Hurts comes out here and it still don't work. And no matter Carson, no matter Hurts, it doesn't matter. Doug's offense is broken.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that end of this game. But I believe genuinely, I know that Hurts was the 6th quarterback off the board. And if he was so good, why? I get it all. But you can't take away what this kid did. This kid won a national title in Alabama and then went and took Oklahoma so far he was the runner-up for the Heisman. That means something. I know Heisman quarterbacks in history aren't that great at quarterbacks, but that's not my point. The point is this kid can play. So I don't want to just set this narrative of the backup comes in, so now everybody jumps in and plays. Jalen Hurts is a good player. I think a lot of the execution that happened in the second half of last game was that I believe this team doesn't respect Carson Wentz anymore. I think it's gone. I think this guy is done here. That's just my opinion.
I don't buy necessarily that they've lost respect for Wentz because they were very and they're supposed to be. Listen, the teammates are supposed to support people, but you don't come out in the type of supportive way, especially the defensive players coming out in Carson Wentz's defense when they're on the other side of the football and that offense can't convert third downs, they can't sustain drives, the defense is on the field all the time. They would most likely be like, oh, well, you know, Carson's carried us for a couple years. We're really excited to get Jalen Hurts. They're saying it's not his fault. Everything's broken. We're doing a bad job too. There's more accountability this week than I've seen all year. I watched a lot of film on Hurts last night, Josh. I was going through his Oklahoma tapes specifically because we can look at the quarterback that he was at Alabama, but Lincoln Riley gives you almost an NFL offense. Kyler Murray's come from there. Baker Mayfield's come from there. One thing that Hurts does very well that Carson Wentz hasn't shown me the ability to do for about a year and a half at this point is when he gets into his 3, 5, and 7-step drops, if he sees the defensive line collapsing a specific part of the offensive line, he does an incredible job stepping up into the pocket where the line's not collapsing. So if someone's coming off the right side and he knows his right tackle is going to keep him on the outside, he slides up in the pocket, immediately goes to the right, looks to pass, and if he doesn't see it immediately, he's taken off. It's something I haven't seen from Wentz in about a year and a half, and it's not something a defense can really game plan for unless you have a spy on the quarterback, which takes someone else out of your defense. So since week 9, the Saints have played the Falcons twice, the Bears once, the Bucks and the Broncos. None of those games really have had a mobile quarterback that they've had to account for. So, like you, when I look at this game, I think that Jalen Hurts can provide enough of a spark where I feel like somehow he can beat this Saints team. But all the logic in the world, what I've seen from the receivers, what I've seen from the offensive line, and what I saw for the most part with the last 8 minutes of the game last week tells me that he may provide a spark for a half of football, but it's not going to last the whole game. And this Saints team is very hungry. They've been eliminated from the playoffs almost every year for the last 4 years. Taysom Hill's trying to prove that he earned that contract and can be a starting quarterback when Drew Brees retires from the NFL. And I just like this Saints team. They're on a nice roll, and the Eagles just subbing a new quarterback. I like what you said, though. This is the week that we see specifically what exactly is broken, because all this weight of the offense has been thrown on Carson Wentz. And we've talked about Doug Peterson. We've talked about Howie Roseman. But Jalen Hurts came in last week and immediately started finding open guys. So it begs the question, well, if he was starting for 4 quarters, is he going to be able to do that every single quarter throughout the game, or our team's going to be able to adjust to him? And I just don't know if it's really Doug, if it's really Carson. This is an answer to all of our questions all season game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not going to answer all the questions, obviously, but I think it's going to expose Doug Peterson one way or the other. I know that I get a lot of shit. I mean, you were a part of that fucking 87 comment war I had about Carson Wentz the other day. I just don't see the good quarterback. Nobody has been able to show me without saying MVP candidate in 2017. Why the fuck I should think this guy's got it? It has been a steady regression, game by game, year over year for the last 3 years, and it has not paused. It has not gotten better. It has continuously gotten worse. And I'm sorry that you can't see, because I know how hard it is that they paid him $126 million. But you got to understand where this kid comes from, what he came from, what his story was. He didn't have to fight for his job at North Dakota State. He looked so good because he had a coach build an offense for him. I said this in that comment chat. Carson Wentz is a system quarterback. We don't disagree. Most quarterbacks are.
Most quarterbacks are, yeah.
Carson Wentz inside the right system is a good quarterback. But do you know who else is? Ryan Tannehill. Do you remember at the beginning of this season when we all had to have the conversation of maybe Ryan Tannehill?
Maybe MVP.
Right. Yeah. That system works for him.
And they're still putting up points.
What was Ryan Tannehill before that system? He was a bad quarterback. That's my point with Carson Wentz. You paid him like Aaron Rodgers and like Russell Wilson and like Dakota Prescott. He's not a guy that fits different systems. He's a one-dimensional, one type of offense quarterback now. He got hurt. He didn't used to be that. I give you 2017. But after he tore those 2 ligaments and then broke his back, he's not moving the same way. He's not the same athlete. There's been one guy to come back from that, and his name's Adrian Peterson. It's never happened before. It'll probably never happen again. But Carson is just a bad quarterback. And if you're not excited to see Jalen Hurts because you're a Carson fan, let it go, man. Let it go. This is not about your guy winning. That's Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson shit. That's why we draft 30-year-old firemen in the first fucking round. We're supposed to win. I don't give a shit about your story. I care about winning. And if Jalen Hurts gives you the best opportunity, fucking play the guy. If Jordan Mailata is the best left tackle, send Jason Peters behind the woodshed. Like, it's time, bro. And it bothers me so much people don't want to be honest about this shit. We're a bad football team right now. And until we start holding them accountable, they're never going to change shit.
So, real quick, I saw something interesting, Just. This goes back to Howie Roseman. And by the way, I'll make a point real quick before that. This can play well either way for the most part for the Eagles, because if Jalen Hurts plays incredible, then you might have found your QB of the future, a more athletic one that's harder to game plan for. If he plays horribly, then it looks like it's the offense as a collective. And for the teams that you might be trying to trade Carson Wentz to, they're sitting there and they're watching Jalen Hurts is like, okay, the whole thing's bad. It's not just Carson Wentz. Maybe I can revive him. And now he's a trade candidate for a lot of other teams. Sure. So this can work favorably no matter how it goes. I'm excited to watch him play. I saw something on Twitter about the 2021 cap hits, and we can talk about Carson Wentz all day because he's the biggest one. But let's put this in perspective about the job that Howie Roseman has done over the last couple years. The 2021 cap hits, Alshon Jeffrey is going to be making $18.5 million. This season, he has 2 catches for 15 yards. Javon Hargrave is going to be making $15 million. He has 9 tackles this season and 2.5 sacks. Malik Jackson, $13.5 million. He has 9 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Zach Ertz, who's been injured for the better part of the year, but even when he wasn't at the beginning of the year, couldn't get open. Couldn't get open. $12.5 million. He has 209 yards and a touchdown. And Deshaun Jackson, who's played basically 3 games over the past 2 years, $11 million. 13 catches for 155 yards. So you basically have paid guys well past their prime, into their 30s, upwards of $10 million on next season's cap, a total of $60 million for 18 tackles and 4 sacks on the defensive end, and 360 yards and 1 touchdown on the offensive end, and you're $60 million in the hole, aside from Carson Wentz's cap hit. So we can make Carson Wentz the scapegoat all day, but the whole team all around has a lot of issues. And next season, guys, I'm telling you, is going to be worse than this season is, or right on par with it. It's not going to be pretty.
I don't agree with you.
No?
No, I mean, it could be. There's obviously an end that way. If Howie and Doug are here next year, I agree with you 1,000%. The fire didn't get put out. It just was allowed to keep burning. I agree. If Doug or Howie or both go, I disagree with you 1,000%. I think that Jalen Hurts is in right now because Jeff Lurie needs to know what he's got.
Yeah.
He already knows what Carson Wentz is. He needs to see what Jalen Hurts is on the field. And that, for him to put that product out there, is to attract more people. Doug and or Howie are going at the end of the season. There's no way to avoid that. Unless they win out, there's no way to avoid that. So I don't agree that it's going to be just as bad or worse next season. I think if Jalen Hurts comes out and shows you that he's a gamer, you find a way out of that Carson Wentz contract and maybe the Alshon contract.
Next year, even if they find a way out of the Carson contract, they're still on the hook for like $35-40 million. So that's not going to.
He's got money. That doesn't fucking matter. They're going to be charged the tax and go over like they are every season anyway.
Okay.
This is what I mean, though. If the reason why you need, as a Philadelphia fan, why you need to watch Jalen Hurts for the next 4 weeks, or what should be, who the fuck knows what Doug's going to do. You need to know that if you lose out and you end up at number 6, if you have to get up to 2 or not. You have to know that.
Yeah.
You have to know that. There are more than enough fits at number 6 for this team where we don't have to give up capital to move up. So there's the best linebacking prospect coming out of Penn State in a long time is going to be there. There's a couple of wide receivers that look good. There's a couple of tackles that look good. 6 can work for you if you've got a quarterback. But if you don't have a quarterback, you need to know if you have to go get one. You have to know that.
Yeah.
So pay attention. Who gives a shit about wins and losses? It's over, guys. They're not going to win the division. It's not going to happen. They're not going to beat Washington at the end of the season. And at this stage right now, I don't think that they have what it takes to beat Dallas either. They're not going to win the division. It does not matter. They won't make the playoffs. It's over. But watch the players. Watch Jordan Mailata and how he progresses. Watch Nate Herbig and how he progresses. Jack Driscoll. People are forgetting Lane Johnson did steroids for 6 years. Steroids break down your muscle mass. This is a real thing. When you stop, your muscles are weaker. And I'm telling you now, Lane Johnson's never going to play another whole season. It'll never happen. His body is breaking down on him because he fucking cheated. That's what happens. That you need to know if Jack Driscoll is a real play. Next year, you need to see Andre Dillard. Watch these players: Jalen Reagor, John Hightower, Quez Watkins, Travis Fulgham. Fuck the winning. We shouldn't care anymore. Right now is figure it out. It doesn't matter if you win. You're gone. You're done. Stop trying to win. Start to figure out what you have. And I don't think Doug's that coach, bro. I think he's terrible.
Score prediction for the game. I'm going the over, and it's going to be a nice day today. 30-20 Saints.
Oh shit.
That 20 comes in the fourth quarter when they're down 30-13.
I'm sorry. Give me fuck. 34-23.
So you guys both said in the beginning that your gut tells you that the Eagles could win, but
yes,
you don't want to seem like homers here, so you pick the Saints based on logic. I have to agree with the first statement. I think the Eagles win this game. Taysom Hill put up 21 points in like the first quarter last week and then didn't put up a single point after that. Like the Saints offense is stoppable.
The worst thing that the Eagles could do for themselves is win this football game.
Well, here's my point. I agree. Like if Doug Peterson was guaranteed his job next year, Jeffrey Lurie could say, look, throw in Hurts. Let's see what we got here. So we know this is not Lurie's decision. This is Doug Peterson's decision because he's auditioning for a job next year. Doug Peterson wants to win these games. He doesn't give a shit about the Eagles draft pick next year. He doesn't give a shit. He wants to win these games, and I think he's going to win this game just to prove that, hey, look, it's not me, it's Carson. So I have a bet for you guys. And everybody listening there, right? I'm not a big fan of money line in football. I think Aaron, you are. But if you have a couple extra bucks, it's a long shot. But throw both money line bets, Washington and the Eagles to win today. A $20 bet wins you $150.
That's solid.
It's a good bet.
Yeah,
you're not throwing a ton of money out there.
If I was going to take underdogs money line this week, I would probably touch the Pittsburgh game. I would maybe touch this Eagles game, and I would definitely touch that Washington game. This is the money line game that, against all logic, I would take, and I don't usually like to take the money line against all logic.
But what Aaron is saying is he's setting you up for before kickoff. He will have money on the Eagles winning. That's what he's trying to explain to you.
This is one of those games, and we see him every week, that everything logically tells you to take the Saints because they are 100% better.
I said to Aaron this morning when we were talking about what time, bro, I said to Aaron, this is the trap game of the week.
Yeah.
This is for sure the game. Again, like we said, everything about my physical body is saying the Eagles are going to win this game. And then my brain takes over and goes, I think you're fucking wrong. It's who the fuck knows. For $20 though to win $150, I believe, again, that's why I picked him. I think Washington wins outright. I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
It's a good teaser. It's a fun way to be excited about a game that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah. Well, and look too, Carson Wentz, we all agree, misses wide open receivers all year long. If Hurts comes in and hits a couple of those, it's a different season for the Eagles. And so he doesn't even have to be great. He just has to be a quarterback.
It's unfortunate that he's going against the Saints this week. And that's really, if this was almost any other team, Jeff, I take the Eagles money line because they're probably going to be underdogs to just about anybody this week. Right. Saints are just so hot. And, they haven't played some great teams since week 9, but even going in and crushing the Bucs, the difference is they haven't had or faced a team where the quarterback's just been able to take off at any given time. So Carson Wentz was actually a worse matchup against this Saints team, even though he's seen everything the last 4 years. Jalen Hurts could come in and pull this game out. They're going to have to account for him. And trust me, he is faster than he looks. The dude is a baller. The dude can play some football, and he also can put his shoulder down and try to run you over a little bit too. He's more of a fullback build than a running back, Lamar Jackson type build. So we'll see what happens, man.
And let's face it too. Again, if Carson was guaranteed his job next year, you could look at him and say, "Look, we're tanking so we can put a receiver next to you, next year." But Jalen Hurts wants to be a starting quarterback. He wants to win this game.
Jalen's been on that sideline all year looking over coach's shoulder, ready to say, all right, man, it's your turn. You can see it. He's itching to get into these games. Sure, he has been itching to get in. He knows he can perform better than Wentz has, and I think he can too. It's been a bad year for Carson.
He understands if he comes in and plays like shit, they're going to draft a quarterback, and he's gone. He might not get another shot. Eagles win this game. I can say that confidently.
All right, we'll see. Any closing thoughts, Just?
My upset of the week is the LA Chargers to win outright. Not a big upset, 1.5 point line, but technically an underdog. So it's the upset. Not a ton. Again, guys, watch. I please, I hope, I pray, I fucking meditate. I need to see these kids in Philadelphia. I need to see Quez Watkins. I need to see John Hightower. I need to see Travis Fulgham. I need to see that young offensive line. I need to see Kavon Wallace. I need to see what's next. And I just hope we get a taste of it today. I'm not going to hold my breath because Doug Peterson's a fucking retard, but hopefully. We're going to get into some Phillies talk. Dave Dombrowski got hired yesterday to come in basically and spend all of Montgomery's money and I guess build a contender. I got so much shit on the Phillies once we get into that AA round. The Sixers season is starting to come alive. We got preseason basketball. We got a lot of shit coming, guys. I'm excited for Wednesday's episode. I want to do a really deep dive into the Sixers team as it's built. There's a lot of James Harden rumors coming. We got a lot of shit to talk about over the next couple of weeks. I'm excited to get to it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I just it's a tall task for Jalen today, and if he even plays an above average game, it's a good sign. We'll see how he does the rest of the year. It's going to be, I'm telling you guys right now, it's going to be better than Carson because I've just watched too many times him miss wide open receivers, him miss reads and only stare down one side of the field. So the offense is going to look better. How much better is really what they're trying to figure out. So they know that if they have to, go into the draft and take a quarterback to move up, they're going to try to win these games. Logic tells me it's not going to happen. 20 years of watching the Eagles tells me it is going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I think it's 30-20 Saints. They cover by at least 2.5 points. And good luck to the Eagles at 425. Good luck to Justin this week. Hopefully on a comeback this week with that brown paper bag over his head. And we will see you guys on Wednesday around 11 a.m. Thanks to our producer, Jeff. Thanks to Justin. Big facts on all social media platforms. And we will see you guys then.